Ryan Torres was halfway through his shift when the screaming started. The sound cut through the normal noise of Gateway Station, like a knife. Sharp. Terrified. Wrong. He was doing his rounds on level 3. Same route he walked every day. 5 years working station security. 5 years of breaking up merchant disputes and helping lost tourists find their gates. 5 years of nothing happening. Security contractor. That was what his badge said. What he told people at parties when they asked what he did. Made it sound important. Professional. The reality was less impressive. He was basically a mall cop, just in space, for a station the size of a small city, where thousands of different species passed through every single day. Gateway Station orbited a neutral world right in the middle of 3 major trade routes. Everyone came through here. Humans, Kryn, Valorans, species Ryan did not even have names for. They came to trade, to negotiate, to sightsee, to catch connecting flights to other parts of the galaxy. Usually it was peaceful, boring even. Ryan had not drawn his weapon in 3 years. Had not needed to. Not today. The explosion came from the East Market. Ryan felt it before he heard it. A vibration through the deck plates. Then the sound. Loud. Deep. Wrong. His radio exploded with noise a second later. Voices talking over each other. Panic. Confusion. Multiple hostiles. East Market. Armed. I repeat, armed hostiles. Civilians down. Need medical. They're shooting. God, they're just shooting everyone. Ryan was already running. Not away from the chaos. Toward it. That was the job. That was what the badge meant. You ran toward danger, not away from it. The East Market was one of the largest open areas on the station. Big enough to hold 1,000 people. Maybe more if it was crowded. Merchants set up stalls. Sold goods from 100 different worlds. Food, clothes, technology, art. It was always busy, always full of people. Now it was a war zone. Smoke filled the air. Thick, black, choking. Ryan could barely see 10 feet. People were running, screaming in a dozen different languages. Human, Kryn clicking, Valoran singing, all saying the same thing. Run, hide, help. Ryan pulled his weapon. Standard issue plasma pistol. Checked the charge. Full. Good. He moved into the smoke. Keeping low. Using the stall for cover. Energy weapons were firing. The distinctive crack hiss of plasma rifles. Military grade. Not something civilians had access to. These were professionals. Or at least well-equipped amateurs. Ryan got his first look at them when he rounded a burning food stall. 3 figures. Wearing tactical gear, masks covering their faces. Human-shaped, but the masks were unmarked. Anonymous. They carried heavy plasma rifles. The kind that could punch through station bulkheads if you were not careful. Anti-alien extremists. Ryan had read the briefings. The fringe group that had been making noise for the past year. They thought the galaxy should be species segregated. Humans with humans. Kryn with Kryn. Everyone in their own corner. No mixing, no trade, no cooperation. They were terrorists. And now they were here. Ryan watched them moving through the market. They were not trying to rob anyone. Were not taking hostages. They were just shooting any alien they saw. Kryn, Valorans. Didn't matter. If you were not human, you were a target. Bodies on the ground. Ryan's stomach turned. Some moving, some not. Too many. He raised his weapon. Started to call out, identify himself, tell them to drop their weapons. All the things security was supposed to do. Then he saw her. Small, so small, maybe 5 years old, if you converted Kryn age to human terms. She was standing in the middle of the market, right out in the open. Her green scales caught the emergency lights, made her stand out, made her visible. Kryn, the reptilian species that made up maybe 10% of the station's population. Traders mostly. Merchants. Diplomats. This one was just a child. She was frozen. Not running. Not hiding. Just standing there. Big eyes wide with terror. Staring at the chaos around her. Too scared to move. Too young to understand what was happening. Just knowing it was bad. Knowing she should run, but her legs would not work. Ryan's brain processed it all in a second. The child, the extremists, the angles, the distances. 3 of them saw her at the same time, turned, raised their weapons. Plasma rifles aimed at a 5-year-old. Ryan did not think. Thinking would have stopped him, would have made him calculate odds and survival chances, would have made him freeze. He just moved. 5 years of working security. 10 years before that in the military. All of it kicked in. His body knew what to do even if his brain had not caught up. He ran, full sprint, across open ground. No cover, no plan, just running. He hit the child at full speed, wrapped his arms around her, tucked her against his chest, made himself as big as possible, made himself a shield between her and the guns. The plasma bolts came immediately. 1. The first hit caught him high on the back. His body armor absorbed it, barely. The kinetic impact felt like getting hit with a sledgehammer, drove the air from his lungs, broke something, ribs probably. The pain was distant, adrenaline keeping it away. 2. Second hit, right shoulder, armor held, just barely. Ryan could feel the heat through protective layers, could smell burning. The impact spun him slightly. He adjusted, kept the child covered. 3. Third hit, lower back. The armor was designed to take 3 hits. Maybe 4 if you were lucky. 3 was the rated limit. Ryan felt it give, felt the integrity fail. But it held, redirected most of the energy. Most, not all. 4. The armor was done. This one burned through, into his back, into muscle and tissue. Plasma was supposed to cauterize as it burned. Stop bleeding. That was the theory. The reality was different. The reality was pain beyond anything Ryan had ever felt. Burning, tearing, his body screaming at him to move, to run, to do anything except stay here getting shot. He did not move, stayed covering the child, stayed between her and the guns. 5. Shoulder again. Same spot, burning deeper. Ryan screamed, could not help it. The sound tore out of his throat. Animal, desperate. 6. Back, lower, near the spine. He felt his legs go numb. Felt something important get damaged. Keep going, just a little longer. 7. Side. The plasma burned through armor and flesh like paper, cooked his insides. He could smell it. Burning meat, his burning meat. Wrong, wrong, wrong. 8. The last one hit his other shoulder. Burned clean through. He could feel the exit wound. Hot, wet, wrong. Ryan was still screaming, kept screaming, but he did not move, did not let go of the child, did not stop being shielded. He could hear return fire, station security arriving, the heavy sound of their weapons, different from the plasma rifles. Louder, the extremists going down, shouting, then silence. Hands on him, pulling him. He fought them, tried to. His body was not responding right. Everything felt distant, floaty. Sir, you need to let go. We've got her. She's safe. Ryan looked down. The Kryn child was staring up at him, those big reptilian eyes. Wet, scared, but unharmed. Not a mark on her. Green scales perfect. You're okay, Ryan said. His voice sounded wrong. Wet, gurgling. Something was very wrong with his lungs. You're okay now. The world tilted. Ryan realized he was falling. Hit the ground hard. Did not feel it. Could not feel much of anything except cold. Everything was getting cold. Faces above him. Humans. Kryn. Security team. Medical team. Someone was talking. Saying things. Important things probably. Ryan could not make out the words. Just noise. He focused on the child. She was being carried away. Safe. Protected. Alive. That mattered. That was the only thing that mattered. Ryan's vision was going dark at the edges. Getting smaller. Like looking through a tunnel. He tried to stay focused. Tried to stay conscious. But the cold was everywhere now. And the dark was closing in. His last thought before everything went black was simple. Clear. Worth it. Then nothing. Dr. Helen Okonkwo had been a trauma surgeon for 20 years. 20 years of emergency rooms and operating tables. 20 years of saving lives and losing lives. 20 years of seeing what violence could do to a body. She had worked on Earth, on Mars, on 3 different space stations, had treated humans and aliens, had seen gunshot wounds and plasma burns and injuries from 100 different weapons, had seen people survive impossible trauma and die from seemingly minor injuries. She thought she had seen everything. She had never seen this. Ryan Torres was on her operating table. His body was a mess. Burns everywhere. 8 separate plasma wounds. The damage was catastrophic. Helen and her team worked fast, cutting away dead tissue, trying to repair what could be repaired, accepting what could not be saved. 8 plasma burns, Helen said to her staff. She needed to say it out loud, needed to hear it to believe it. 3 penetrated body armor, 5 direct hits, full power, military-grade weapons. He should be dead. Should have died instantly from the first hit that made it through his armor. But Ryan Torres was not dead. His heart was still beating. Weak, irregular, but beating. His lungs were still pulling air. Barely, but breathing. He was alive. Somehow, impossibly, against every medical probability. Alive. The surgery took 9 hours. 9 hours of delicate work, of repairing blood vessels and removing fragments and trying to save as much tissue as possible. 9 hours of Helen expecting him to crash, to code, to give up. He did not give up. The Kryn mother arrived while Ryan was still in surgery. Helen was taking a break, stepping out to update the family. Except there was no family. Ryan's personnel file listed no next of kin, no emergency contacts, just an address on Earth he probably had not visited in years. But there was someone waiting, a Kryn female, tall, elegant, wearing diplomatic robes that probably cost more than Helen made in a year. She stood when Helen entered the waiting room, her reptilian eyes fixed on the doctor with laser focus. The human, the Kryn said. Her translator converted her clicking speech to perfect English. The one who saved my daughter. Where is he? He's in surgery, Helen said. Critical condition. Multiple plasma burns. We're doing everything we can, but... I will wait. The Kryn's voice was flat. Final. I'm sorry, but you're not family. I can't give you updates unless... I am Ambassador Sarah of the Kryn Diplomatic Corps. She said it like a weapon, like a fact that changed everything. The human saved my daughter Kira. He threw himself over her body, took 8 plasma shots meant for her. He gave everything. I will not abandon him. Helen paused, looked at this alien diplomat, saw something in her eyes. Determination, gratitude, something that transcended species. The surgery could take hours more, Helen said gently. And after that he'll be in recovery. It could be days before he wakes up. If he wakes up, you don't need to. I will wait. Sarah's voice was iron, unbending. He gave everything for Kira. Everything. The least I can do is wait. To be here when he wakes. To thank him. She sat down in one of the uncomfortable waiting room chairs, folded her hands, became still in that way aliens could, that humans never managed. Perfect stillness. Helen went back to surgery. Came out 6 hours later. Sarah had not moved, had not left. Station staff had tried to bring her food. She refused. Tried to convince her to rest in a private room. She refused. Just sat, waiting. Ryan survived the surgery. Helen could not explain how. The damage was too severe. The trauma too extreme. By every metric, he should have died on the table. Should have bled out or gone into shock or had his organs fail. But he stabilized. His vitals steadied. His body started doing what bodies were supposed to do. Started trying to heal. Started healing impossibly fast. Helen was reviewing scans the next morning. Her assistant, Dr. James Park, was with her. They were looking at tissue images, before and after. The difference was shocking. This is not normal, James said. He pointed at the screen. Look at this. The tissue regeneration rate. It's accelerated. Way beyond human baseline. Way beyond anything I've seen. Adrenaline response, Helen said. She was grasping, looking for rational explanations. Extreme trauma sometimes triggers enhanced healing. the body's survival mechanisms. Not like this. James pulled up more scans, side-by-side comparisons. Look, the plasma burns. They're closing, not scarring over. Actually closing. Cellular regeneration at the wound sites. New tissue growing. This is science fiction level healing. Helen stared at the images. He was right. The burns were healing. Fast. Too fast. Plasma wounds took weeks to heal. Sometimes months. They left permanent damage. Scarring. Loss of function. Ryan's wounds were healing in days. Real healing. Not just surface closure. Deep tissue repair. Cellular regeneration. His body was rebuilding itself. Human healing factor. That was what the xenobiology textbooks called it. Humans recover from injuries that killed other species. They bounced back from trauma, adapted to damage, survived. Other species healed slower, more carefully, more precisely. They took time. But humans were messy healers, fast healers. They scarred easy but recovered fast. It was one of the things that made them dangerous. Hard to kill, hard to keep down. Ryan had taken it to an extreme. His body was healing at a rate that should have been impossible. But the scans did not lie. He was getting better, hour by hour, day by day. The story hit galactic news feeds within hours of the attack. Someone had recorded it. Security footage, civilian cameras, multiple angles, all showing the same thing. A human security guard seeing a Kryn child in danger, running toward her, throwing himself over her body, taking hit after hit, 8 plasma shots, staying down, covering her, not moving until the child was safe. Human takes 8 plasma shots for alien child. The headline spread across 1,000 worlds. News networks picked it up. Social media exploded. Billions of people watched the footage, watched a human sacrifice himself for a species not his own. The comments were revealing, showed how different species thought, how they saw the world. Humans mostly said things like, "That's what heroes do," or "protect the kids," or "of course he did," like it was obvious, like there was no other choice. Other species were confused, baffled. Why would you die for someone else's child? Why would you risk everything for an alien? What did he gain? What was the benefit? The Kryn responses were different, respectful, awed. In Kryn culture, warriors protected their young, fiercely, absolutely, but their young, their blood, their tribe. This human had protected a Kryn child, a stranger's child, an alien child. It did not make sense to them, but they respected it, honored it. Ambassador Sarah sat beside Ryan's bed when he finally woke up 3 days after surgery. His eyes opened slowly, unfocused, confused. He looked around the hospital room, at the monitors, the 4 lines, the bandages covering most of his torso. Then he saw Sarah, sitting in the chair beside his bed, watching him, waiting. "The child," Ryan said. His voice was rough, damage from the breathing tube during surgery, from screaming during the attack. "Is she okay?" Sarah felt something crack in her chest. 3 days unconscious. Critical injuries. First words were about Kira, not about himself, not about his pain, about the child. "You saved Kira," Sarah said. Her voice was thick. Kryn could cry. Did cry. She was crying now. "My daughter. You put your body between her and death. Took 8 plasma shots. Should have died. But you lived. Is she okay?" Ryan repeated, more insistent. "She's perfect. Unharmed. Not a scratch on her. Because of you." Ryan closed his eyes. "Good. That's good." "In Kryn culture, there's a concept," Sarah said. "Life debt. When someone saves your blood, you are bound to them. Forever. You saved my daughter. My only child. You are blood bonded now. Family. You understand? Not words. Not honor. Actual family." Ryan opened his eyes, looked at her. "I'm not looking for her. I just did what anyone would do." "No." Sarah's voice was firm. Hard. "You did what a human would do. What only a human would. No other species has this. This instinct to protect children that are not yours. Not your kin, not your species. Valorans would not do this. My people would not do this. Humans do this. She was a kid, Ryan said, like it was simple, like it explained everything. Kids don't deserve to get shot. Someone had to. Sarah stared at him, at this strange, brave, stupid human who threw himself at armed terrorists to save one child, who took 8 plasma shots and somehow lived, who was more concerned about Kira than his own injuries. You are family now, Sarah said. Blood bonded. Kira's uncle, my brother. This is not negotiable. This is Kryn law, Kryn tradition. You saved her. You are ours now. We protect what is ours. Ryan did not know what to say to that, did not know how to process it. So he just nodded, closed his eyes. Let sleep take him again. Sarah stayed, kept vigil. Her brother, the human who saved her daughter, the man who changed everything. Ryan woke up famous. That was the first thing Dr. Helen told him when he was finally alert enough to process information beyond pain levels and medication schedules. You're all over the news, she said. She was checking his vitals. The burns were healing, but he would be in the hospital for weeks. The video went viral, galactic viral. We're talking billions of views. What video? Ryan's voice was still rough, getting better, but still damaged. Helen pulled up her datapad, showed him security footage from the market, multiple angles, all showing the same thing. Ryan running, throwing himself over the Kryn child, the plasma bolts hitting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ryan staying down, not moving, protecting her. The video ended with him collapsing, with security carrying the child away. Safe, unharmed. Oh, Ryan said. He did not know what else to say. Oh. Helen looked at him. That's all you got? You're the most famous human in the galaxy right now, and you say, oh. What do you want me to say? I don't know. Something. Anything. You threw yourself in front of 8 plasma shots for an alien child. People want to know why. She was a kid, Ryan said, like it was obvious, like there was no mystery. Helen shook her head, smiled. Yeah, that's what I figured you'd say. The comments on the video were revealing, showed how different species thought, how they processed what they saw. Humans mostly understood. Not everyone. Some called Ryan stupid, reckless, said he should have called for backup instead of charging in. But most got it, said things like that's what you do, or protect the kids, or he's a hero. Other species were confused. The Valoran comments asked why repeatedly. Why risk your life? Why for a stranger? Why for an alien? The calculations did not make sense. The benefit did not justify the cost. The Kryn comments were different. Respectful, awed, grateful. Their culture understood sacrifice for family, for tribe. But this human had sacrificed for someone else's child, someone else's tribe. That transcended their understanding, but they honored it. The academic response came fast. Xenobiologists started publishing papers within days. Psychologists ran studies. Anthropologists wrote analyses. Everyone trying to understand the human protective instinct, trying to quantify it, explain it, make it make sense. Dr. Elena Vasquez was a leading xenopsychologist, human, specialized in comparative behavioral studies. She had been researching human-alien interaction for 15 years. The Ryan Torres case became her focus. She gave an interview to Galactic Geographic, the largest news network in known space. The interview went viral, got more views than the original attack footage. Humans have this instinct, Elena said. She was sitting in her office, surrounded by books and research papers. This drive, this biological imperative. Children must be protected. It doesn't matter whose children. It doesn't matter what species. A child in danger triggers a protective response in humans that overrides rational thought, overrides self-preservation. The interviewer was Valoran, tall, blue-skinned, confused. But why? What is the evolutionary advantage? Protecting your own offspring makes sense. Protecting your tribe's offspring extends your genetic line. But protecting alien children? Children that share no DNA with you? that can't reproduce with your species? Where's the benefit? There is no benefit, Elena said. Not in evolutionary terms. Not in survival terms. But humans don't think in those terms when they see a child in danger. They just act. Ryan Torres didn't stop to calculate genetic advantage. Didn't consider species compatibility. Didn't think about cost-benefit analysis. He saw a 5-year-old about to die, and he acted. That's human. It's irrational, the interviewer said. It's beautiful, Elena corrected. And yes, it's terrifying. Humans will die for children that aren't even the same DNA structure, will throw themselves into impossible situations, will fight impossible odds, all for a child they've never met, a child that isn't their species, a child that can't benefit them in any measurable way. She paused, looked directly at the camera. Other species protect their own. Humans protect everyone's. That's the difference. The interview clip got shared 1 billion times, got analyzed, debated, became required viewing in xenobiology courses across the galaxy. Ambassador Sarah made official 2 weeks after the attack. She called a press conference. Formal, public, important. The blood bond ceremony was ancient Kryn tradition, rarely used, reserved for the deepest debts, the most sacred bonds. Sarah performed it in full diplomatic regalia. Kira beside her, Ryan in a wheelchair, because he still could not stand for long periods. My people are warriors, Sarah said. She was speaking to the cameras, to the galaxy, to billions watching. We understand sacrifice in battle, understand dying for your tribe, for your people, for your family. This is honorable. This is right. She placed her hand on Ryan's shoulder. Kira held his hand, small fingers wrapped around his much larger ones. But Ryan Torres's sacrifice was different, Sarah continued. He had nothing to gain. Kira was a stranger, a different species. She could give him nothing. Not wealth, not status, not progeny, nothing. He saved her because she was a child, because she deserved to live, because in his human heart children matter. All children, any children. Sarah looked down at Ryan. I declare before the galaxy, before all witnesses, Ryan Torres is blood bonded to my family. He is my brother, Kira's uncle. This is not honorary, not symbolic. Actual family by Kryn law. We protect what is ours, and Ryan is ours now. The ceremony ended. The footage went everywhere. Comments exploded, most positive, some critical. Humans bonding with aliens, mixing with other species. Some people hated it, but most saw it for what it was. Gratitude, recognition, family. Ryan just wanted to go back to work. Wanted to stop being a symbol, stop being analyzed, stop having cameras follow him everywhere. But the galaxy was not done with him. A reporter cornered him outside the medical wing 3 weeks post-attack. He was walking now, slowly, with a cane. The burns were healing, but the nerve damage would take months, maybe years, maybe forever. The reporter was human, young, eager, shoved a microphone in his face. Ryan Torres, why did you do it? Why risk your life for an alien child? Ryan stopped, looked at her, tired, done with this question. She was a kid, but she wasn't human. She wasn't your responsibility. You could have called for backup, could have taken cover. Why run into plasma fire for someone else's child? Ryan's expression hardened. Kids don't deserve to die. Simple as that. But she wasn't your species. So what? Ryan's voice went hard, sharp. She was 5 years old, scared, about to die. What kind of person sees that and walks away? What kind of person calculates species compatibility before helping a terrified child? The reporter stepped back, surprised by the anger. She was a kid, Ryan repeated. That's all that mattered. That's all that ever matters. You see a kid in danger, you help. You don't stop to check their species, their genetics, their potential value. You just help, because that's what decent people do. He walked away, left the reporter standing there. The clip got 1 billion views, got shared, analyzed, quoted. What kind of person sees that and walks away? The question haunted the galaxy, made people think, made them examine themselves, their values, their priorities. Military analysts started publishing reports, classified at first, then leaked, then public. The reports analyzed human behavior, human tactics, human psychology. Humans would hold positions to protect civilians, would take wounds for strangers, would die for causes they believed in, for people they barely knew, for children of any species. This made them terrifying soldiers, unpredictable, willing to sacrifice in ways that did not make tactical sense, willing to die for objectives that had no measurable value. But it also made them terrifying allies, loyal beyond reason, protective beyond logic. You could trust a human with your children, your family, your life. They would die before letting you down. The galaxy started seeing humans differently, not as primitive, not as emotional, as something else, something rare, something valuable. But Kira did not care about any of that. She just knew Uncle Ryan, the nice man who saved her, who visited her every day, who brought her treats from the human section of the station. Chocolate. She loved chocolate, even though Kryn were not supposed to eat it. Made them hyper. Ryan brought it anyway. Uncle Ryan. She would run to him when he visited, careful of his injuries, gentle, but excited. Ryan taught her jokes. Human jokes. Puns mostly. Terrible puns. She did not get most of them. Kryn humor was different, but she laughed anyway, because Uncle Ryan was funny, was kind, was hers. Ambassador Sarah watched them together, saw her daughter happy, alive, thriving, because one human had decided she mattered more than his own life. You changed her life, Sarah said one evening. They were in her quarters. Diplomatic suite. Fancy. Ryan fell out of place. Kira doesn't remember her father. He died when she was 2. You're the male figure in her life now. The protector. The hero. I'm not a hero, Ryan said. Just did my job. Your job is security, not human shields. Someone had to. Sarah smiled. That sharp Kryn smile. Yes, someone had to. And you did. That's why you're family now. That's why the galaxy can't stop talking about you. You showed them something they didn't know existed. Selflessness beyond tribe, beyond species, beyond reason. I just didn't want a kid to die, Ryan said. Exactly, Sarah replied. Exactly. The extremist struck again 2 weeks later. Ryan was in physical therapy when the first reports came in, working on his leg mobility. The nerve damage from the plasma burns was healing slowly. He could walk, could stand, but running was still difficult. Quick movement sent pain shooting through damaged pathways. His physical therapist got the alert first. Her datapad chimed. Emergency broadcast. Her face went pale. What? Ryan asked. He was mid-exercise, balancing on one leg. The burn scars pulled tight when he moved wrong. Attack, she said. Incoming. The medical center. They're hitting the medical center. Ryan's blood went cold. The medical center, where he had recovered, where Ambassador Sarah stayed, where Kira lived under diplomatic protection. He was moving before his brain caught up, grabbed his cane, started for the door. The therapist tried to stop him. You can't. You're still injured. Security will handle. Ryan pushed past her, limped fast toward the medical wing. His legs screamed protest. He ignored it. Kira was there. Sarah was there. That was all that mattered. The alarm started when he was halfway there. Station-wide alert. Lockdown protocols. Red lights flashing. The automated voice repeating the same message. Hostile action. Seek shelter. Remain calm. Ryan did not seek shelter. Did not remain calm. Just move faster. He reached the medical center as the first shots were fired. Plasma bolts burning through walls. Screaming. The sound of heavy boots. Professional assault. Coordinated. These were not random terrorists. This was a strike team. Finish what they started. That is what the intelligence reports would say later. What the intercepted communications had warned about. Kill the contaminated child. Kill the human who protected her. Make an example. Show the galaxy what happened when you mix species. when you betrayed human purity. Ryan found Kira in her mother's suite, the diplomatic quarters. Reinforced, secure, but not secure enough. Not against a determined assault. Kira saw him and ran. Small legs carrying her across the room. She grabbed his leg, the injured one. He hissed pain, but did not pull away. Uncle Ryan, the bad people are back. I know, sweetie. I know. Ryan picked her up, pulled her close. Stay with me, okay? Don't leave my side. Ambassador Sarah appeared from the inner room. She was armed, plasma pistol in one hand, combat blade in the other. Kryn warriors did not go anywhere unarmed, especially not when they had enemies, especially not when their children were in danger. How many? Sarah asked. She was already moving, already positioning herself between the door and Kira. Combat instincts. Ryan checked his datapad. Security feeds. 12 confirmed, maybe more. Heavily armed, military-grade equipment. We need to evacuate, Ryan said. Get Kira to a secure location. The panic rooms. No time. Sarah was watching security feeds. They're already in the building, already moving through the corridors. They'll intercept any evacuation attempt. Then we hold here, Ryan said. His mind was working. Old military training kicking in. This room. Reinforced walls. One entrance. Defensible. We make them come to us. Make them pay for every inch. Sarah looked at him. At this human barely healed from the last attack. Still bandaged. Still limping. Still breathing hard from the exertion of just getting here. You're injured. Barely healed. You should evacuate. Take Kira. Run. I'm breathing, Ryan said. His voice was hard. Determined. That's enough. They fortified the room in under 3 minutes. Sarah's personal security team arrived. For Kryn warriors. Trained. Armed. Professional. Station guards came next. 6 humans. Good people. Good soldiers. They knew what was at stake. They made a perimeter. Furniture for barricades. Weapons positioned. Fields of fire established. Kira in the center. In the safest spot. Protected by layers of people willing to die for her. Ryan took position near the door. Best angle. Best coverage. He had a plasma pistol. Standard security issue. And his cane. He could use the cane as a weapon if needed. Had done it before in training. Would do it now if it came to that. The extremists came hard. No subtlety. No attempts at negotiation. Just violence. They blew the outer door with shaped charges. Came through firing. Plasma bolts burning through the air. Hitting walls. Hitting furniture. Hitting people. One of the station guards went down. Plasma through the chest. Dead before he hit the floor. Another took a hit to the shoulder. Kept fighting. Wounded but not out. Ryan fired back. Aimed shots. Controlled. The way he had been trained. Protect the vulnerable first. Hold the line. Don't give ground. Every shot was calculated. Every position maintained. This was not about killing the enemy. This was about keeping them away from Kira. About making them pay. About making them think twice. Sarah fought like a Kryn warrior. Fast. Brutal. Efficient. She moved through the room like water. Like violence given form. Her blade found throats. Her pistol found hearts. She was terrifying. Beautiful. Deadly. Together they held. The extremists pushed hard. Threw grenades. Smoke. Plasma. Tried to overwhelm them with firepower. With numbers. With aggression. But the defenders held. Inch by bloody inch they held. Ryan took another hit. He was moving to cover a gap in their line when plasma caught him. Grazed to the leg. The same leg that was already damaged. The plasma burned through his pants. Burned skin. Burned already damaged tissue. His leg gave out. Ryan went down hard. Hit the floor. Pain exploded through him. White hot. Overwhelming. But he did not drop his weapon. Did not stop fighting. Just adjusted. Kept firing from the ground. Kept himself between the attackers and Kira. Stay down. Sarah shouted. She was across the room. Fighting 3 attackers at once. Winning but barely. Ryan stayed down. Can't. Ryan said through gritted teeth. He fired, dropped an extremist trying to flank their position. They'll get through. They'll reach her. You're bleeding. I'm fine. He was not fine. Could feel blood soaking through his pants. Could feel his leg going numb again. Could feel his body starting to shut down. But he kept fighting, kept firing, kept holding the line. Sarah saw it, saw the human refuse to yield. Refused to let anyone pass him, even wounded, even bleeding, even outgunned. He just kept fighting, kept protecting, kept being a shield. This was what humans did. This was their nature. This was why they were terrifying, why they were valuable, why they were essential. They did not know when to quit, did not know when to give up, would fight until they physically could not fight anymore, and then would keep fighting anyway. Station security arrived 6 minutes into the fight. Reinforcements. Heavy weapons team. They came through the breech door like a hammer. Overwhelming firepower. Professional tactics. They caught the extremists between two forces. Pinned them. Crushed them. The surviving extremists tried to surrender. Some did. Some tried to run. Neither worked. Station security was done playing nice. Done showing mercy. These people had attacked twice. Had targeted a child. Had killed good people. They went down hard. The fight ended. Silence fell, broken only by groaning wounded and crackling fires. Smoke filled the air. The smell of burned plastic and flesh. Wrong. All wrong. Ryan collapsed. Finally let himself feel the pain. Feel the exhaustion. Feel everything he had been pushing away. His weapon clattered to the floor. His vision was going dark at the edges. Kira was safe. He could see her, still in the center of the room. Unharmed. Protected. That was all that mattered. Medical teams rushed in. Started triage. Ryan waved them off. Helped the others first. I'm okay. He was not okay, but others were worse. He could wait. Sarah peered above him. Blood on her scales. Not hers. The enemy's. She knelt beside him. Pressed something against his leg wound. Pressure. Stopped the bleeding. You're an idiot, she said. Brave. Stupid. Heroic. Idiotic. She's safe? Ryan asked. His voice was faint. Fading. She's safe. Because of you. Again. Good. That's good. The footage went viral within an hour. Security cameras had caught everything. Every moment of the fight. Ryan taking another hit. Going down. Refusing to stay down. Fighting from the ground. Sarah fighting like a demon. The two of them together holding an impossible line. Human and Kryn fighting side by side. Protecting a child. Refusing to yield. Refusing to break. Comments flooded in by the millions. Humans are insane. Humans are heroes. Humans don't know when to quit. That's why they're terrifying. That's why they're essential. I want humans on my side. Never fight against humans. Never threaten what humans protect. Ambassador Sarah gave a statement from the medical wing. Ryan was in surgery again, repairing the new damage, the old wounds that had been reopened. Kira sat beside her mother, safe, alive, because one human had refused to let her die. Today you saw what I learned weeks ago, Sarah said to the cameras, to the galaxy. Humans will die for your children, will fight impossible odds, will never yield when innocents are at stake. This is not training. This is not doctrine. This is who they are, what they are. She looked directly into the camera. Remember this. When you work with humans, when you trust humans, when you call humans allies, this is what you get. People who will stand between your children and death, who will fight until they cannot fight anymore, and then keep fighting anyway. We call them allies. I call one family, my brother, my daughter's uncle, the human who has now saved her life twice, who has now been wounded twice protecting her, who will probably be wounded again because that is what he does. Sarah's voice went soft, emotional. That is what humans do. They protect, they shield, they sacrifice, and they never quit. The statement got 1 billion views, got shared across the galaxy, became required viewing in military academies, in diplomatic schools, in xenobiology courses. The day humans showed the galaxy what protection really meant. The day everyone learned what it meant to have a human on your side. The Galactic Council met in emergency session 1 week after the second attack. The council chamber was ancient, a massive circular room carved from a single asteroid. Representatives from 47 different species sat in tiered seats rising toward the domed ceiling. Each delegation had voting power proportional to their population and economic influence. Ambassador Sarah had requested this session, had demanded it actually, used every diplomatic contact, every favor owed, every ounce of political capital. This was important. This mattered. She stood at the central podium, the speaker's position. Kira sat in the diplomatic gallery, safe, protected by a dozen guards. Ryan was still in medical recovery, still healing from his second set of wounds. But he was watching. The session was being broadcast. He would see this. The human Ryan Torres showed us something, Sarah said. Her voice was amplified, carried to every corner of the chamber, broadcast to billions watching across the galaxy, showed us what we are missing, what we have failed to understand. Protection of children, all children, regardless of species, regardless of origin, regardless of political affiliation. She pulled up footage on a massive holographic display. The first attack. Ryan seeing Kira in danger, running, throwing himself over her, taking the plasma shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Staying down, not moving, making himself a shield. The chamber was silent. Everyone had seen this footage, but seeing it again, on this scale, in this context, it hit different. This human had no obligation to my daughter, Sarah continued. No family connection, no political alliance, no economic incentive. She was a stranger, an alien, a child of a different species. He saved her anyway, because she was a child, because she deserved to live. She pulled up the second attack. Ryan fighting wounded, taking another hit, going down, refusing to stay down, fighting from the ground, keeping himself between the attackers and Kira. Twice now, twice this human has put himself between my daughter and death. Twice he has been wounded protecting her. This should not be exceptional. This should not be remarkable. This should be our standard. Sarah looked around the chamber, at 47 different species, at thousands of years of different cultures and traditions and values. I propose new legislation, the Protection Protocol, protection of all children, any species, any situation. Children are protected first, always, no exceptions. The debate lasted 3 hours. Representatives raised concerns, questioned definitions, argued logistics. Some species did not prioritize children the way humans or Kryn did. Some matured quickly, were independent young. Some laid eggs and never met their offspring. But the footage kept playing. Ryan taking 8 plasma shots. Ryan fighting wounded. A human protecting an alien child, refusing to let her die. The vote was called. The Ryan Protocol, they were calling it, named after the human who showed them what protection meant. It passed, unanimously. 47 species voting yes, 0 voting no, 0 abstaining. New training standards, new military doctrine, new security protocols, protection of all children. Define children broadly. Anyone not yet adult by their species standards. Anyone vulnerable. Anyone innocent. They are protected first. Always, no matter the cost. Human protective instincts became the template, the standard. What had been uniquely human became galactic doctrine, taught to every species, every soldier, every security force, every person with a weapon and a duty. Put children first. Hold the line. Never yield when innocents are at stake. The Galactic Child Protection Agency was founded 2 months later. New organization. Independent. Funded by contributions from every major power. Mandated to investigate threats to children. To intervene in conflicts where children were at risk. To prosecute crimes against children regardless of species or jurisdiction. They needed a director, someone to lead. Someone who understood the mission, Someone who had proven they would die for this cause. The council voted. Another unanimous decision. Ryan Torres, the human who took 8 plasma shots, who fought twice wounded, who showed the galaxy what protection meant. Ryan accepted from his hospital bed, still recovering, still healing, but already working, already planning, already building something new. Ambassador Sarah was named co-director. The Kryn diplomat and the human security guard, working together, building something better. Kira grew up safe, protected, not just by her mother's guards, not just by diplomatic immunity, protected by a galaxy that had learned what Ryan taught, that children mattered. All children, any children. She called Ryan Uncle in a dozen languages. Human English, Kryn clicking, Valoran singing. Whatever language she was learning that week. Uncle Ryan, the human who made himself a shield, who refused to let her die, who changed everything. 5 years after the first attack, Ryan stood in a training facility on Gateway Station, the same station where it all started, where he had thrown himself in front of plasma fire, where he had nearly died twice. The facility was huge, built specifically for the Child Protection Agency. Training grounds, classrooms, simulation chambers, everything needed to teach protection, to teach the Ryan Protocol. Hundreds of recruits filled the main auditorium, dozens of species. Humans, Kryn, Valorans, species Ryan did not even know the names of yet, all wearing the same uniform, all learning the same doctrine, all committed to the same cause, protect the children. All of them, any of them. Ryan stood at the podium, 5 years older. Scarred, he walked with a slight limp now. The nerve damage from the plasma burns had never fully healed, probably never would, but he could walk, could stand, could teach. That was enough. You don't protect them because they're your species, Ryan said. His voice carried across the silent room. Hundreds of faces watching, listening, learning. You don't protect them because they look like you. You don't protect them because they share your DNA or your culture or your beliefs. He paused. Let the words sink in. You protect them because they're kids, because they're innocent, because they deserve a chance to grow up, to become whatever they're going to become. Good or bad, brilliant or average, doesn't matter. They deserve the chance. And someone has to protect that chance. Someone has to stand between them and the people who would take it away. He pulled up footage on the display behind him. Not the famous video, not the attack footage, different footage, recent footage. Kira playing a park, 10 years old now, laughing, running, playing with other children, human children, Kryn children, Valoran children, all together, all safe, all alive. This is why, Ryan said. This is what we're protecting. Not politics, not territories, not ideologies, not trade agreements or diplomatic relations, or anything else adults fight about. Children, the future. The innocents who deserve a chance to grow up in a galaxy that values them. The recruits watched in silence. Some were young, barely out of childhood themselves. Some were older, career military looking for new purpose. All of them were here for the same reason. They believed. They wanted to protect. They wanted to be part of something that mattered. I took 8 plasma shots that day, Ryan continued. Anyone here seen the footage? Every hand went up. Of course they had. Everyone had seen it. Would do it again, Ryan said simply. Would take 80 if that's what it took. Would take 800 because she mattered, because she deserved to live, because she was 5 years old and scared and about to die, and someone had to stop that. He looked around the room, at all the different faces, all the different species, all the same commitment. That's the standard. That's the protocol. You don't count the cost. You don't calculate the odds. You see a child in danger and you act. You protect. You shield. You hold the line. And you don't yield. Ever. Questions. Silence. Complete silence. Then a Valoran in the third row raised a hand. Tentative. What if protecting one child means failing to protect others? What if the math doesn't work out? Then you make impossible choices, Ryan said. His voice was hard. Honest. This job isn't easy. Isn't clean. Sometimes you can't save everyone. Sometimes you have to choose. But you never choose based on species. Never choose based on politics. You choose based on who needs help most, who's in most danger, and you do everything you can to save as many as possible. Another hand, human this time, young, maybe 20. What if we're scared? What if we freeze? Then you're human, Ryan said, or Kryn, or Valoran, or whatever. Fear is normal. Freezing is normal. But training overcomes freezing. Practice overcomes fear. That's why we train. That's why we drill. That's why we run scenarios over and over until the response becomes automatic. So when the moment comes, when the child is in danger, when the shots are being fired, you don't think. You just move. He gestured to his leg, to the limp, to the scars visible on his neck and arms. I was scared. Both times. Terrified. Thought I was going to die. But I moved anyway. Because the training kicked in. Because the instinct was stronger than the fear. You'll be the same. After we're done with you, the fear will still be there. But you'll move anyway. No more questions. Just understanding. Just commitment. Good, Ryan said. Let's begin. The training facility hummed with activity for the rest of the day. Humans teaching Kryn hand-to-hand combat. Valorans teaching humans threat assessment. Everyone learning from everyone. All species. All backgrounds. All united by one purpose. Protect the children. Ambassador Sarah watched from the observation deck. Kira beside her. 10 years old now. Smart. Kind. Curious. Alive because a human had refused to let her die 5 years ago. Uncle Ryan changed the galaxy, Kira said. She was watching the training floor. Watching recruits from a dozen species working together. Learning together. Yes, Sarah agreed. He did. Because he's special? Sarah thought about that. About the human limping around the training floor. Correcting stances. Offering encouragement. Teaching protection. Nothing about him looked special. He was average height. Average build. Scarred. Damaged. Just a man. Because he's human, Sarah said finally. Because humans have this thing inside them. This instinct. This drive. They see a child in danger, and they act. They don't calculate. They don't hesitate. They just act. They will die for children that aren't theirs. That aren't their species. That can't give them anything in return. Why? I don't know, Sarah admitted. Xenopsychologists have been studying it for years. They still don't fully understand. It's just human. It's what makes them terrifying enemies and incredible allies. It's what makes them essential. Kira watched Ryan teaching a Kryn recruit how to position their body to shield a child effectively. The recruit was twice Ryan's size but listened intently. I want to be like that, Kira said. Like Uncle Ryan. Protecting people. Making a difference. Sarah felt her heart swell. Pride. Love. Hope. Then he changed you two. Changed all of us. Down on the training floor, Ryan worked with recruits late into the night. Teaching. Training. Building something new. Something better. Something that would outlast him. A galaxy where children were valued. Where they were protected. Where species didn't matter. Where innocence was defended. All because one human had thrown himself in front of 8 plasma shots. Had shown the galaxy what mattered. Had proven that one person could make a difference. The human who took 8 plasma blasts. Who fought twice wounded. Who changed how an entire galaxy valued life. Not through war. Not through politics. Not through grand speeches or diplomatic maneuvering. Through one simple act. Putting a child's life above his own. The galaxy learned. Adapted. Changed. Became better. And children everywhere were safer because of it. That was Ryan's legacy. Not fame. Not glory. Just protection. Just making sure that when the shots were fired and the children were in danger, someone would be there. Someone would shield them. Someone would refuse to let them die. That was enough. That was everything.